Can't use a lot of the plays that you like to use down in the red zone, because basically you're going to have a defender that's going to play these passing lanes that you like to hit down in the red zone, and then also this cover 4 defense has got really stout run defense, and it's really not going to give you an opportunity to plug in. This is Prometheus, the only YouTuber that shows you full games of all the tips and schemes he posts on the channel. I show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So guys, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also that notification icon, because I'll be rolling out offensive and defensive tips to go ahead and take your game to the next level going on into Madden 22. So guys, I want to talk about a red zone defense that is been pretty effective in the past, but it's even more effective now that you can use in Madden 21, and most likely you'll be able to use it in Madden 22. And it's a very common defense you can pretty much find in every particular playbook. Now, recently on my Patreon, I actually went ahead and posted a full red zone scheme. But I realized quickly, once I ran into someone running this defense down in the red zone, I actually had to expand on it. So that's what I'm going to show you is tips on how to run this defense, and also how you can break it down too. Now, the first thing you want to do with running defense down in the red zone, and this is something I've done personally, and I picked this up, is you want to go with a baseline defense. You don't want your defenders out of position. They've got a small area that they can attack as far as the field, and you're not going to get your players out of position if you're playing any type of zone coverage. The other thing that you want to do is that whatever depth you're at right now, however far away you are from the red zone, if you're 10 yards out, you want to change all of your drop zones to that yardage marker. So if you're basically if it's first and goal on the 10-yard line, you want to go ahead and change your drop zones to 10. And once your opponent comes a little bit closer, you want to change that to 5 once they're 5 yards out. And if you're right on the red zone, just put your drop zones right at 0. This is going to put everybody out on the defensive line. So we're going to split the difference. We're going to use 5 yards for our flats, our curls, and our hook zones. This is critical to go ahead and make your defense more effective. Now, the defense we're going to take a look at is going to be cover 4. In particular, one of the best cover 4s to use down the red zone is the cover 4 drop show 2. It's going to put your guys in automatic spies. It's also going to go ahead and put your deep defenders back there too. But I want to show you the reason why this is very effective opposed to other defenses. If you look at cover 2 defense, which I've actually had very good success with down in the red zone, there are weaknesses in the defense that you can get exposed. So against cover 2, one of the little plays that I like to use against cover 2 is using a dig and basically a whip route on the backside, and that exposes the backside defender against cover 2. And you can see right here, he has to play the entire back half of the field, and if he gets preoccupied by an out route or a whip route at the backside, that's going to allow you to go and attack your opponent right over the middle right here and get an easy completion. So this is a concept that I went into a game with going, okay, I'm going to be able to go ahead and attack my opponent in the back. And when he ran this cover 4 against me, I was not able to do that. So once again, we're going to go ahead and drop cover 4 drop show 2 is our base defense. And what's great about this defense is that it's just a basic stock defense that obviously you get really good run support. With the defenders, you can see how the defender came in and shot the gap. But also it takes away that route I showed you earlier with Evans, because what happens now is that you got a defender in that area, then it doesn't get cleared out because of cover 4. So let's just take a look at the instant replay on why this is such a hard defense to play against in the red zone. Because basically what you've got this guy going out to the flat. He's playing your flat defender. You've got this guy out here playing in a flat defender. You got these 2 guys playing the sidelines, and you've got your 4 guys playing in the back of the end zone, taking away those back end zone passing lanes that a lot of people like to drop into. So that's why this defense, cover 4, where you actually go ahead and take your underneath zones, your purple zones, your yellow zones, your sky blue zones, your flat zones, your curl flats, and your hook zones. You put them all at the depth of however far out you're at. So if you're at 10-yard lines, you want to put everybody at 10-yard lines. If you're at the 5, you want to put it at 5. And just make sure you play the goal line. And it's going to give you 4 defenders in the back of the end zone and then 4 people actually underneath playing that. So it's very difficult to actually score against, and it's a good defense you should run against in the red zone if you struggle with red zone defense. So you can't use a lot of the plays that you like to use down in the red zone, because basically you're going to have a defender that's going to play these passing lanes that you like to hit down in the red zone, and then also this cover 4 defense has got really stout run defense, and it's really not going to give you an opportunity to plug in. So once again, you have to go back to plays that are going to be a little bit more effective against your opponent. And one of the first plays that you can use if you want to try to run against someone that's using like a cover 4 drop defense would be a halfback draw. Once again, not the best play, but it is a play that actually can be pretty effective down in the red zone against your opponent. Now, I'm actually in the 49ers playbook, and it has a very unique play that you don't find in every single playbook, but it's the iForm Pro halfback lead draw. And what makes this play unique is that you basically have yourself a fullback pulling for you. But if you could see, like a lot of these defenders, they fall back into their zones before they really act to the run play. And you can get yourself you can get a good chunk of yardage, especially if you get an opponent that moves out of position. He's not playing the run correctly, and you don't have a real start defensive tackle like that that's actually going to be jumping in there. But I assure you, it's a good a run play to go and throw into your scheme where you can use to pick up some pretty easy yards. If you got a guy that's playing cover 4 coverage, he's playing this where he's got a lot of his guys actually playing spies. You could just use this as a run play to get the ball in, and I've used it before in the past. But let's take a look at some of the passing plays, because this is probably going to be something you're more likely going to do against this cover 4 red zone defense. So one of the first formations I started looking at against this cover 4 red zone defense is the pistol weak eye. And the play in particular that I was looking at was the Y corner, because I've got that little fullback play, a fullback route that actually goes ahead and flips out. But with cover 4, with the shell, you have to preoccupy the deep zones and the flat zones where they get pulled out of position. So I'll show you some different techniques that you can use. The most important thing you need to do is that the area that you want to go and attack your opponent, you want to go ahead and put yourself a fade route, especially when you're inside the 10-yard line. What happens is that if a guy plays preset zone drop zones, in particular where they're going to play the sideline, a purple zone or a sky blue zone, which would be a flat zone, those curl flats are going to pull out to any kind of a fade route. You'll notice a huge difference in how they react. Another thing is that you want to overwhelm the area of the field that you want to go ahead and attack. So what I've discovered is that if you go ahead and motion a 4th wide receiver or a wide receiver, 3 wide receivers on one side, that's going to give you more people are going to pull out. And then another thing you want to do is go ahead and put a flat wide receiver over here. Now watch what happens with. Let's just go ahead and run this stock. And I want you to watch the defenders and watch how they will probably be in position to take away these routes. But if you flood the zones over there, they're going to be completely out of position. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you instant replay. So here's your instant replay. This is going to be my read right here, because he's going to fall underneath and work his way up. But as you can see, this guy, the back of the end zone is wide open because this defender is going to be able to play that area. I've got this guy right over the middle. I've got this guy right here. I've got this guy right here. So I've got 2 wide receivers and 4 defenders. They're basically just bracketing everything, and they're going to make a play on the ball. If I do catch it, he's going to tackle him right there, or he's going to make a play on the ball or actually go ahead and intercept it. So I have to go ahead and overwhelm these defenders to give myself a shot to stop this. So the first thing you do is you motion this guy over. And another thing I noticed is that if you go ahead and take this guy on the left side, your wide receiver, and put him on a fade route, that's going to pull the one defender that's supposed to play those sidelines out there quicker. And the last thing I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and take my running back and wheel him up. And what this does is it opens up the passing lane and it pulls defenders out and out. It's spread out to be able to go ahead and hit this route on the backside. So this is one of the first things I discovered when I was in the lab trying to make sure that this defense you can crack this defense, is basically making sure there's no defenders that are going to play this route right here and you can fall right in. You know, most important thing with this particular defense or playing against this defense is that you want to go ahead and take your outside receiver that you want to focus on and put him on a fade route like that. Now, another thing I've discovered too is that some of these goofy slide routes will get into a sweet part of the zone. So you can do a similar setup like this and watch Gronkowski. He'll actually get into just a sweet part of the zone too at that area. So that's just another thing you can show your opponent too, is with that type of a look too. So if I wanted to stay in my single back wing slot offense, red zone offense against my opponent, I can use play action wide drag wheel to have the same effect. I'm going to go ahead and put Evans on a route which is going to be a fade route, and I'm going to take my running back and actually put him on a wing route. But we're going to watch Gronk. Gronk should open up into a sweet part of the zone against that particular defense, and I still got the guy going over the cross, going over the middle, that is going to force him to take that into consideration if he tries to use or way Gronk's route. But you see how the defender doesn't even react to Gronk, and Gronk's able to go and turn up and get into the end zone. Other things I've noticed too is that if you go ahead and you have the ability of doing hot route master for you MUT players, corner routes sometimes don't actually get reacted well too well at all. So this is the key to this offense is basically having that fade out here. So you want to motion out your running back, but watch the corner route on this backside and how he actually just gets underneath the zones where you can actually go and attack your opponent. So that's just another thing that you want to do. So if you do run into somebody that runs cover 4 down in the red zone, I think the most important thing that you want to take a look at is basically using fade routes to pull the defenders to the outside and finding the zone, inside zone area in between the two defensive backs is going to be where Gronkowski route is at. That's going to be the sweet part of the zone that you can hit, where you can manipulate the defenses down in the red zone. So guys, if you like these type of tips, go ahead and make sure you smash that like button, and I'll also be rolling out more offensive and defensive tips to take your game to the next level. If you are looking for offensive schemes, these are based on concepts and breaking down the defenses. You can always go to my Patreon account, and for $1 you can get access to all the different schemes that are broken down. Last year I broken down some Arizona playbook. I did Saints, I did the Bills, Carolina Panthers. Also recently worked on a playbook like the 49ers, but these are all concepts that you can use to go ahead and move the ball down the end zone, and then occasionally I'll share some different defensive tips and defenses I run online. So once again, guys, thank you for your support. Until next time.